The real reason men lose with women becomes clear in the first moment of contact. A grounded man sees this immediately and does not fall into common traps. The woman may look attractive. Her profile may appear refined. Her presentation may seem impressive, but he instantly checks for possible problems. He thinks about where disagreement may surface, where pressure may rise, and where values may collide. He is not influenced by looks. His own foundation is already stable. His internal reaction stays calm. He sees the situation for what it is. A grounded man thinks long-term. He has seen enough to predict outcomes early. Even in the first minutes of the conversation, he understands what will happen weeks or months later. His awareness protects him from unnecessary complications. If he sees that the future will not benefit him, he steps back before wasting time. The inexperienced man acts differently. He reacts emotionally. He focuses on how the woman looks. He becomes excited quickly and asks others how to impress her. His decisions come from impulse, not judgment. He sees appearance, but he does not evaluate behavior, attitude, or compatibility. A simple observation shows the difference. Some men have stood in front of an attractive woman and still walked away because they understood the situation clearly. Others have never done this. If a man has never turned down a beautiful woman, he has never practiced selectiveness. That creates problems later. Men often lower themselves in front of women because the starting point is fear. He fears approaching. He fears speaking. He fears sending a message. Even if he overcomes the first fear, another appears. He starts worrying about every answer he gives. He fears being judged. He expects rejection. If he gets the date, the fear continues. He worries about his impression. He wonders if she will contact him afterward. He wonders if the interaction is progressing correctly. Instead of observing her and understanding who she is, he behaves like someone seeking approval. His mindset becomes submissive. Stress pushes him into rushing. He feels an urge to accomplish something quickly, as if speed will reduce fear. This creates pressure inside him. The pressure distorts his behavior and makes his actions unstable. He acts as if validation is survival. Even if everything seems to go well, fear shifts into fear of loss. A small amount of interest from her makes him feel lucky. He interprets her attention as something fragile he needs to protect. This perception creates instability. Whenever she shows pressure or disagreement, he reacts with anxiety. Fear as a foundation prevents balanced relationships. The man stays in a weak position. This is why many men fail to build stable connections. They attempt to meet women repeatedly without analyzing anything. They collect rejection after rejection, but never adjust their strategy. Every rejection changes the emotional state. When the mood collapses, the next attempt becomes worse. Communication becomes weaker. Decisions become reactive. The cycle continues because the man does not stop to understand the cause. He simply tries again with the same approach. Many men experience a series of failures. After several negative outcomes, confidence drops sharply. Communication becomes lifeless. Messages lose clarity. He continues only out of habit. This pattern lowers performance in every following interaction. The downward trend accelerates. If he keeps repeating mistakes without understanding the structure, the failures multiply. He collects hundreds of negative experiences. These experiences reshape his self-image. Potential does not matter if communication is unstable. Nervousness impacts the result more than appearance or status. Some advice encourages men to approach more women to get used to rejection. But adapting to rejection is not improvement. Getting used to negative treatment is not strength. A man can adapt to poor environments, but adaptation does not equal growth. It only normalizes discomfort. Repeated rejection does not create confidence. It creates tolerance to pain. True progress comes from small wins, where the man sees that his approach works in the right context. Humiliation does not build skill. It only changes what a man is willing to accept. With honest analysis, it becomes clear that minimizing failure is more effective than forcing resilience. Approaching only when interest is present creates positive momentum. This reduces emotional damage and preserves confidence. Strength grows from controlled exposure, not constant negativity. Women cannot hide genuine interest. Even small signs repeat. Recognizing these signs allows a man to choose interactions with potential instead of wasting time on situations with predetermined failure. Yet many men ignore these signs. They focus on appearance alone. They choose women who show no engagement. They chase difficulty. They seek validation from the least responsive option. This behavior leads to predictable disappointment. Picture a simple situation. 3 women sit together. One looks several times. One is neutral and distracted. One is passive and uninterested. Most men choose the uninterested one. They go toward challenge instead of logic. This damages confidence and wastes time. Rejection often means the choice was incorrect. Interest was not present. Approaching without signals leads to obvious outcomes. Many situations illustrate this pattern. Some women receive constant attention and do not react because nothing surprises them. Approaching without awareness leads to failure. Understanding environment matters. Some women hear compliments all day. They do not respond to common behavior. Trying to impress them without any signal leads nowhere. Choosing a woman who reacts to you creates a real chance. Some men claim they do not fear rejection, yet their behavior shows the opposite. Repeated negative outcomes affect self-worth. Stress during the first contact does not build skill. It overwhelms the nervous system and reduces performance. This creates worse results every time. Extreme emotional pressure is unnecessary. Meeting someone while anxious leads to instability. Even if initial attraction happens, the long-term dynamic becomes weak. Stability comes only from calm internal state. Without it, the interaction loses balance quickly. Improvement begins with smaller steps. Communication without pressure builds clarity. Simple conversations develop comfort. Over time, the man becomes more controlled. Then he can move to more serious interactions with greater confidence. Gradual growth makes progress sustainable. Some advice says that a man should learn to meet all types of women. This is inefficient. Meeting unstable or incompatible women wastes time and energy. A man who wants a stable partner should focus on clarity. The difference between a problematic woman and a stable one affects emotional health. A problematic woman brings unnecessary conflict. A stable woman provides structure. Engaging with compatible individuals prevents emotional strain. Lowering stress at the beginning increases success later. Removing unnecessary difficulty is logical, not avoidance. A practical method is speaking with several women in a neutral format. No romantic intention. No pressure. Expectations are clear. This builds comfort and reduces anxiety. These interactions prepare a man for higher stakes environments where more is expected from him. If a man rushes directly into meeting a highly attractive woman without preparation, his emotional state collapses under pressure. He becomes reactive and loses control. Preparation ensures stability. A calm mind performs better in any environment. Men who excel in communication often work in roles that involve constant interaction. Fitness trainers are an example. They gain experience with many personalities. They adjust quickly. Their environment naturally builds social competence. A fitness trainer interacts with numerous women daily. Confidence grows from exposure. Meanwhile, a man with limited social environments develops more slowly. His opportunities to practice are fewer. This affects his results outside of work. The trainer holds a position of authority. People listen to him. This increases his confidence. He becomes skilled in guiding conversations. A man who works in limited spaces does not receive the same range of interactions. His progress is slower. Positive feedback strengthens social competence. Women respond positively to calm instruction. This reinforces the trainer's confidence. Meanwhile, a businessman may receive negative feedback in unfamiliar environments. This affects his behavior during dating. Time increases the difference. The trainer becomes comfortable reading signals. He communicates on equal terms. His environment supports growth. The businessman may grow financially but lose social confidence. Lack of practice creates imbalance. This difference shows why some men succeed while others struggle. Experience shapes behavior. Controlled exposure builds stability. Avoiding overwhelming situations protects emotional balance. Clear strategy matters. At this point, one conclusion is unavoidable. Many men repeat ineffective patterns because they do not understand the structure behind their behavior. They continue without evaluation. They repeat mistakes because they never examine results. In the end, something must be said clearly. Most men fail not because they lack potential, but because they ignore patterns that stand directly in front of them. Every mistake repeats until a man decides to face the truth instead of avoiding it. At the end of the day, respect does not grow from fear. It shows up the moment a man stops chasing what does not choose him.